I think the biggest thing that I think separates us against other investors if we're competing with people is our
Do you teach people how to do this themselves so they can do it themselves?
Like I said, you can turn a lot of those so-called negatives into positives.
So welcome, guys, to today's podcast. We're going to do something different today. We're in my new studio here in San Diego, California. We're going to do a Mastermind style podcast with two good friends of mine, Greg Helbeck and Dean Rogers. So we're going to talk about some really good stuff. We're going to share what we're doing in our businesses. The thing I love about Greg and Dean is their businesses are kind of similar to mine in the fact that they have a really good team that runs their operation, and they do some stuff to educate and help other people with the real estate investing business. So we're going to dive right in. What's up, dudes?
Do it.
What's going on? I love the live shows, man.
Yeah, buddy.
I got your text on like Tuesday. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll be there.
Dude, this is awesome, man. This is awesome. So introduce yourselves. I'll introduce myself here in a minute, but Greg, I mean, a lot of people probably know who you are, but do a quick intro, man.
So I'm Greg. I live in San Diego, and my business, I got started in real estate in 2015, but really didn't start moving and grooving until like 2017, 2018. It took a while to ramp it up. So I live out here in San Diego. My business is based out of the New York City area. So we are in a relatively expensive market, not nearly as expensive as San Diego. But yeah, ever since 2018, we've been virtually doing deals. So I've been able to grow that business now. I think this month we got 8 deals, which is good because like last year we were really doing like, 4 to 5 a month. So I've seen the business grow, and I got a small team that helps me with the business, and looking forward to continuing to grow it. And I do a handful of deals in California every now and then in San Diego when I can stumble upon a deal.
Some big
that's
juicy
not $2
deals.
million.
Some big juicy deals in California.
I got one El Cajon right now. It's a total headache, but anyway, I'll talk about that later, I guess.
Cool. The cool thing about
total
you guys,
headache.
The cool thing about both of you guys, when I met you guys were doing a lot of the stuff yourself. In the last few years, I've really seen you guys grow and automate your stuff and bring on some really
especially every Monday. I remember I was telling you for like 2 years, I'm like, I'm hiring people, and you saw me like the evolution of it actually happen.
Yeah,
so.
That's super cool. Super cool. So Dean, former NFL Charger.
Yeah. Yep. So the elevator pitch, grew up a sports guy, made it to the NFL, realized if I kept playing, I was going to be a vegetable pretty early in life. Unfortunate, but made that life decision. Quickly went into the corporate world and found out after a year like this wasn't going to get me back to that NFL lifestyle of living life on my terms and having freedom. So did what a lot of people did, searched on Google, found Sean Terry, flash forward, years down the road of making mistakes, flipping hundreds of houses. We primarily wholesale houses at this point, do a couple flips at a time. Our rental portfolio's right around 8 figures at this point. So we've been growing that up as well. And like you said, over the years, we've been scaling our team. We do over 100 deals a year now. We just added another team member, 2 team members recently. So we've got 8 on the team now. And it's all about just continuing to build out the systems and create more structure and more freedom. And, that's what it's all about.
Cool, man. Well, I'm the old guy of the group. I've been doing this, I think, as many years as both of you guys combined. 20 years. You're about 8 or 10?
I'm 9 now.
9 now? 5 years?
5 or 6,
5, yeah. So I'm the old guy in the group. Been doing 20 years now. Started in high school. So my big thing is just scaling the business and getting out of it, man. Just, I grinded every day in the business for 12 years, 13 years. Finally decided I was not good at the things I thought I was good at, and I found people better than me to fill that position. So I love being able to do stuff like this and network with really good guys like you guys.
I got to give you a compliment though, man. For grinding for 12 years, you still have all of your hair and zero gray hair. Yeah. So I don't know how you do it.
You haven't seen the gray hairs pop
Dude, I can barely see them.
I got a gray for every year in business.
Lots of coloring.
For sure. Well, cool, man. Well, let's jump into some good stuff. So we're all doing some pretty cool things. Let's talk about what you guys are doing different than anybody else. I think that's the big thing with business owners that do things kind of at a high level is they figure out things that maybe other people don't figure out, or maybe they duplicate what other people are doing and just do it better. So who wants to talk about something cool they're doing right now?
I think the biggest thing that I think separates us against other investors if we're competing with people is the sales process and the ability to build rapport with sellers and get them to commit commit to a decision one way or the other. And I think, and also follow up. So it's like a combination of everything. But in New York, it's pretty freaking competitive. It's just kind of like California. Pretty much anywhere, if you're in a market in America that actually has people buying and selling, it's going to be competitive. So a lot of people are like, oh, my market's too competitive. It's like, it's going to be competitive anywhere. So anyway, so I brought an acquisitions manager on last October who actually worked for another investor before, but he just wasn't getting enough leads, and he kind of reached out to me. He's a high school friend of mine. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I think we could talk about maybe working together. And I like thought about it. And anyway, so he already knew the real estate game before he came on board with me. So he had a lot of experience with talking to sellers. He's bought houses over the phone in Florida. So when he got onboarded with me, you know, I was sitting in that seat. So I was, you know, I've been talking to sellers since 2015, 2016. So I didn't really have to teach him that big of a like I didn't have to show him a different sales process because he already kind of knew how the game worked. He had some sales training. But I think what we do with sellers is, number one, we really disqualify people hard who are not a fit. And I see a lot of new investors, they waste their time with sellers who are never going to sell to them because they don't get enough leads. So if you have an abundant amount of leads, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 leads a week, you're not going to be desperate when you're on the phone with sellers. So number one, I fill his pipeline up with a lot of leads. And number two, I tell him sales is a disqualification process. The quicker you can disqualify someone who's truly not a fit, the quicker you're going to be able to get on the phone with someone who is a fit, and you could spend 80% of your time with that 20% of your customer base, right? Instead of trying to make offers for everyone that aren't going to be a fit. So he's really good at disqualifying people who are never going to sell to us at a discount. And then he's really good at taking the 20% of the sellers who are actually going to sell to us and really spending time with them to solve their true problem, right? And get them to tell the truth. And sometimes the truth is I'm going to get a couple offers and I'm going to have to shop this around. And when that happens, for example, Brett's really good at building the rapport and the relationship to where if the seller for some reason is going to get a few offers, he'll get a commitment from them for us to have the last look, whether we want to beat the offer or match the offer. So like that gives us an advantage against other people in our market is number one, we disqualify the tire kickers quick so we don't waste our energy. And number two, when we have a real, they would call it a contender instead of a pretender, he's really good at finding out their hot buttons, getting them to the truth. Because a lot of the times, like sellers, what do they say? Buyers are liars and sellers are worse. He's really good at just getting those sellers to, confess their sins, I guess, and tell him really what's going on so he can develop a solution to their problem. And a lot of the times it's not about the money. Because if it's about the money, they're going to list the house on the market. And he tells them, hey, why don't you list your house? Oh, I don't want to do that. I can't have people coming through my house. And then we're eliminating that option usually. So then it leaves it with us or someone else. And he's just really good at getting deals. Yeah, I mean, he's probably better than me at this point, honestly, because I'm not patient. I'm kind of a dick, to be completely honest. He's really patient and slow, and he's really good at like nurturing them. And I'm like good at it, but like I'm just very like I just want to get the deal. Like I don't want to spend 2 hours on the phone with someone. It's just drives me crazy.
Oh, I hear you, man.
It's just for me. It's like, oh my gosh. But I mean, it's for business. Yeah, right. It's like, come on, let's just do this deal.
That's the New Yorker in you.
We're not patient guys. We're just all angry and tired.
I think it's just business. Well, definitely New Yorkers, but business owners in general. It's like, man, we want the deal. Just come on.
Because there's so many other things going on. It's like we got all these other things we got to do. It's like spending 2 hours with a seller.
Greg is really good on the phone. So when he said that he had someone that was better than him, he's like, that's pretty impressive. And I found that for my business too, that like I felt like I was really good at like positions in my business. And then it's like, no, I can find people way better than me because they're more patient.
They can spend their whole day doing that versus me spending a quarter of my day and then putting out, fires all day. So it's like if I can find someone who's better than me, can spend all day doing that, and that's their core function in the business, and that's how they make their money, I can go out and raise capital and sell the deals and, develop systems and, work on the business from that angle.
Yeah. Sales process is so important because people will be like, direct mail doesn't work, or sometimes our clients will say TV doesn't work, but we'll dive into their numbers and be like, dude, you got 90 leads and you only did one deal. Like there's got to be something broken in the sales process.
Yeah, or they're calling the leads back like 2 hours later. It's like if you get a PPC lead and you're not on the phone with them in 2 minutes, like just give me the money and I'll spend it for you, right? Yeah. It's like you're literally throwing your money away.
Yeah, we're listening to our clients' calls now, and some of the acquisitions people act like they don't even know that they buy houses, or lead managers or whoever answers the phone. They're like, oh, you want to sell your house? Okay. And it's like, it's horrible. Like their salespeople have no training. Yeah. And if I were to call in and it sounded like they didn't know their business, I'm like, no, I'm going to call someone else. Like there's no way I'm going to do business with those people. Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I'd echo everything that you said, but instead of doing that, I think the main thing that kind of sets us apart is we've kind of become like an authority in our market. You know, we've got all the different credibility things that we can show from just, you know, hey, we're on TV. Hey, we're with the Better Business Bureau. You know, go look at our Google reviews. If you look at our Google reviews, we have like 65 Google reviews or something like that. And the next best person has, you know, maybe 5 or 10 or something like that.
There's no comparison.
And we barely started kind of emphasizing like getting reviews and stuff. So from a credibility standpoint, that always stands out to the sellers we're working with. And then I think we're just really good at solving problems.
Yeah.
Like, dude, our deals always have hair all over them, and we got to work through things, whether it's just like personal things that we got to overcome, or if it's actual like title issues we got to work through and fix. So I think our ability to like overcome that and not just say, oh, there's no deal here, is what allows us to kind of push those deals that people just can't figure out. And there's always problems that just come up through the deal. I mean, there's so many different people you're working with on every transaction, whether it's the seller side or the buyer side or through escrow. And so like being able to control that and make sure that it stays on the rails, you know, and then once it comes off the rails, putting it back on. We come across that all the time. So I think that's what we've been able to show our competency to not only ourselves and sellers, but now we've created a whole new marketplace. You've heard me talk about our Friends with Benefits program. We have other investors coming to us because they know we just get stuff done. And we're not only going to get it done, but we're going to like maximize that deal. We're either going to help negotiate it at a lower price and sell it at a higher price, or just help the deal come together when no one else could, right? So I think those kind of things coming together is what has helped us just really elevate and become an authority in our market.
Dude, it's so good you said that, because if someone's watching this and they're brand new, even if you get a deal, like a good deal under contract, the logistics and you said the drama that happens when you're in contract or in escrow, it's unfreaking believable. And unless you have that experience, it's hard for a new investor to be able to be like, oh yeah, I've done this 25 times in the last 2 months. It's like, no, like if you work, I say this to a lot of people, it's like a shameless plug to like JV with me on deals, but it's like, it's true. It's like, if you're brand new and you want to get the quickest path to success, if you find an investor in your market who's doing deals and you simply bring them opportunities, number one, you're going to make more money splitting that deal with them than you would on your own, most likely. I have case studies to share on this because it's like, if you're not experienced, you just don't have a buyer's list. You don't know how to negotiate with a buyer. You don't know how to position yourself in a negotiation. Right. It's like you're going to learn more and get paid more money than you would have gotten paid on your own to work with someone who knows what they're doing. And then when you do that, you know, for 3, 4, 5 deals, you kind of understand the ropes of it, and then you can go off on your own and do whatever. But I had a guy bring me 2 houses. This was early July, so it was like 3 weeks ago. He brought me a house, is both in Poughkeepsie, New York, so like a really great city. First deal, we made $60,000 on it. The second deal, we made $75,000 on it. These are wholesale deals. And he literally called me after and he said, dude, both of those deals were hairy, so thank you for helping me get through the title issues. And I would have made less money wholesaling this to my little itty bitty buyers list. But I made more money splitting the deal with you because we had, you know, I call it a Congo line going through the house of buyers. 10 people go, you know, shimmying through the house. And then our process is like, once you're out of the house, you submit us an offer and we take the highest and best, right? Assuming there's demand. If there's no demand, obviously we don't do that. But, you know, we're able to like max out those deals, and he put more money in his pocket splitting them without doing a lot of work because I kind of took over once he brought the deal. And I mean, it's just a real cheat code for someone who's brand new. You don't have to worry about all the drama.
Yeah, we talked about that on the podcast we did together.
Dude, it's crazy.
If you're new, the quickest way to success, gaining new relationships and just like getting into the good old boys club, is to work with someone who is the authority, someone who's experienced. And then the reverse is true too. If you're the experienced person, don't keep all that information,
share it,
and experience to yourself. Yeah. Go work with newer people and elevate them, bring them in, and it just creates an amazing community, dude, and just conveyor belt of deals. Like that's
so powerful, man. I literally have people like I'll get on the phone with someone and like help them out, and like they're like surprised and they're like, "Oh, you're my market too." I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like, there's no secrets.
Yeah,
it's like whether you like bring me a deal or not, like I don't care, and like." It's like, I just want to help you because when I was getting started, when I was, 21 years old, I had people do it for me. So I have to repay that. I feel like obligated. And the more you share, the more everyone wins. Like there's so many deals out there, it's ridiculous. Everyone's like, oh, there's no deals. Like, there's like 4 million people living in San Diego County. If 1% of the market was distressed, it's probably more than that now. Like, there's not enough investors to buy those deals.
For sure.
Like,
I'd
just
say
in San
for
Diego.
the first 4 to 5 years, I kept my head down. I found my partner after year 1.
Yeah.
And we worked on deals together. But I'd say I kept my head down and just focused like get deals, direct to seller.
Yeah.
And like it's me against the world kind of mentality. But if I could have done anything different, it would have been to network more.
Oh, dude,
sooner
it's so powerful.
with all the major players, and instead of looking at them as competition, looking at them as partner opportunities.
Totally.
I feel like that could have opened up more doors sooner and helped me get to where I'm at now faster.
Absolutely, man. Totally.
Yeah, it takes away the learning curve. Like we have gap funding people come to us where we lend down payments for real estate investors, and they'll bring deals to us and we make them way more money on those deals because we're like, okay, you overpaid, you need to renegotiate. That's one huge thing.
Step one.
Right? 2 is with contractors, same thing. It's like this contractor is charging you $10,000 to demo this house, like it should be $3,000. You know what I mean? And then the mistakes they make, like they want to put like 50% down on these houses.
Like contractor
To
deposits?
contractor.
Oh!
And I'm like, okay, no.
Yeah.
That's one way I'm gonna
That
save you
smells
a
like
lot
a recipe
of
to go to
money.
the cleaners.
No doubt.
50% down. I would tell the contractor, if you ever call me again, like,
Oh, it's crazy.
that's insane.
It's crazy.
50% down.
I don't even like doing any money down, but every once in a while I'll do something.
I do a starting draw. I do a small
just
deposit.
like $3-5 right?
It's minimal.
Yeah.
Oof, you can get spanked so hard doing that with
Yeah.
that's a whole nother podcast. Like, I mean,
It's one thing to have an
Yeah.
established relationship with a contractor, and even then it's a little dicey. But if it's a new relationship, like you better run from that.
Yeah. So for me, overpaying for properties, which is basically comps, right? Like just making sure you're running comps
Yeah.
right.
Because newer people get a little too optimistic.
Totally, and they
Especially
do
the
it
wholesalers.
to do the deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I think I can stretch this to 650 and I can make this a deal.
it's because of the lack of leads, though, because they don't have as many at bats to
Yeah.
swing at. So they're trying to make the most of what they
Totally.
got. So they're like trying to turn a
And
turkey.
we've all been
Yeah.
there, right? We've
Oh,
all
yeah.
tried
It
to
happens.
squeeze deals.
Oh, yeah,
right?
for sure, man.
Yeah. And then underestimating repairs. It's like, oh no, this is not going to take $20,000. This is going to be a $50,000 rehab, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there's just so many other little mistakes they can make along the way. So having,
But those mistakes all stack up. Get you spanked.
Totally.
Yeah.
And luckily, this market's helped people, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
As of like 2 months ago, now in San Diego,
Now
it's
it's
backlashing on everything. Flippers are getting smoked right now. I'm seeing
Yeah.
like price reductions on Redfin from like they were trying to sell something for 1.2 and now they're like trying to sell like $900,000.
Dude, we got a flip right now.
Yeah.
It appraised for 320, which was like 20K shy because catch this. So here's a little story. So the appraiser called out and needs a new roof to get to the value that we were going for, 339.
Got it.
But he said once we fix it, he's not going to adjust his appraisal. Okay, didn't make any sense. But the appraisal, he was
Appraisers
you
are
know,
some of the stupidest people.
dude,
Sometimes
we're having
unbelievable.
a rough time right now. So he wouldn't correct this. So the buyer's agent who had a buyer willing to pay the 339, really wanted it at that price, was like, no, we're not going to do another appraisal. Just wouldn't do it. So the ego got caught up there, killed the deal. We got the second buyer in, sold it for 337 really quickly. The appraisal came in lower at 315 with a replaced roof.
oh my gosh.
So appraisers, and I've been told by big, massive national refinance companies, like appraisers are right now coming in low. Like
Yeah.
just hammering down.
the main gal I talked to, she's like, there's a experienced guy just like you that I work with out of fill in the blank. I can't remember where it was. He has a property. It should appraise for this. The appraiser came in $100,000 below, and he sold it $100,000 above, like cash or something like that. So like appraisers are out
which is
after
gonna
people right now.
screw the market because then it's gonna bring the comps down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Buyers are willing to pay that
Yeah.
the amounts,
But they
then-
can't deal with the appraisal.
Yeah,
I just had
the
this happen on a rental. I'm refined. The appraisal came. He was like yelling. He's like a New York jerk on. He was like yelling at me. He's like, "Don't ever call me again to justify this appraisal." I'm like, "Yo, idiot! Number one, I
through that
paid
right
you."
now.
Yeah, he's
With
bitching at me.
5 refinances right now.
Yeah, and I'm like, "How could you say this is worth 165 when there's not a single unit that's sold for under 200?" And he's like, "I don't need to explain myself." I'm like, "Yes, you do. I paid you $650, you knucklehead. Like, what's going on?" And this is how the New Yorkers, we just start clashing at each other.
Right.
Anyway, there's nothing I could do about it. So the banker was like, well, you're going to have to leave more money in the deal. And I'm like, I guess I have to, but don't ever hire that idiot again. Because he was like nasty to me. But it's like,
but what's interesting,
ridiculous.
there was about a 6-month period where appraisals were coming way higher.
Yeah.
Did you guys get that too?
Yeah.
that happened actually in Bonita.
I had one that I thought I was
here.
going to price for 200. We were refinancing it. It came out at 275.
Wow.
And granted, there's comps, but it's
Wow.
like they're a little bit further over and they're not on
Yeah.
the main street like ours. But we're like, okay, we'll take the 275.
The main thing that I realized is and this even with hard money loans, when you get hard money loans, usually they make you get an appraisal or like a drive-by at least. The main thing these guys are looking at or girls are looking at is the contract price, whether you're buying it or whether you're selling it. So I actually had a flip in Bonita, California. This was 2 months ago before the market got squirrely. So the timing was good there. But we put it on the market for $350 and we went in contract for $382.5, which was unexpected, but great. And I'm like, this is going to be an appraisal problem. There's no way this thing is going to sell for $382.5 is what we signed a contract for. Because the comp before that, before I put mine on the market that was renovated, was $330. So I was like, $350 is a little optimistic. The appraisal came back short. Long story short, the buyer ended up coming up to $370 instead of $350. Because I had to basically take a little bit less because I knew it was such an
and they had to bring more money to the table.
Yeah. So and then the one guy waived his commission, but like on the market for $350, in contract for $382.5. I knew the appraisal was going to be a problem. We ended up taking $370 for it, which was still $20,000 above.
Yeah.
But I was getting nervous because the interest rates. I'm like, ooh, like this was in like May, and I'm like, oh, this is not great. And then it ended up closing. But I mean, these appraisals throw a lot of your retail deals off.
Yeah, I have a big deal right now. It's telling you guys.
The one in Texas?
In Texas, yeah. We put on a contract for 1.1. Needs about 150,000 worth of work, and it should sell for around 2. Problem is there's not a lot of buyers in $2 million properties in
Tyler, Texas. Teeth are optional.
And on top of that, interest rates are going up, and so it's like, okay, even if we sold it at one, like,
Is that property come on land or?
It's 2 acres of land, custom built, 9,000 square foot house.
Buying a house like that, they might be paying cash. You know,
that is true.
Maybe
There
like oil
are,
money
there
or
are a
something.
couple comps that were cash, so that would be good. But here's the thing: $2 million, we're making $500,000. I mean, it looks like a sweet deal. But if it sits on the market for 9 months and only sells for 1.7,
Yeah,
I mean, a couple $100,000 is nothing to balk at. But it's like, man,
it's a lot of risk. It's a lot of capital.
Yeah.
Is this a newer built property or is it kind of like
14 years? So it's
So
still
new.
It's
It's a
in
new
good
house.
shape. It just needs like some new counters, some new like painting it to have a little bit more of a
house was built in 18.
newer color scheme.
1890, 1920. I'm like, it's 14 years old. It's like brand new construction.
Yeah, right. I know.
Yeah.
but
Most of it, like, yeah,
But it's
1920.
like the 2008 color scheme. It's like more browns and
Yeah.
stuff like that, which I think is okay in Texas. California may or may not
no
be able
way.
to get away with that. But yeah, it just seems like a little bit more of a risky
Try to
deal,
novate
so.
that thing, bro.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I don't think
Novation
the seller's going to go for it. I don't think the
Yeah.
seller's going to go for it. Tell us about your novation deal. You were talking about
Well,
that.
it's going south right now, so I'll tell you how it's going south. So anyway,
So novation, first of all, explain that
it's
a little bit.
basically the best way to explain it, and there's people who know a lot more about it than I do, but I'll just do my best. So basically it's usually when you're negotiating with a seller off market, the one thing that gets in the way most of the time is the price, right? It's like they like you, they want to sell to you, they're happy about your company and all you can do to help, but the price is the problem. Like they just can't sell it for the low offer. But a lot of times what I realized is that if the seller has a reasonable asking price, maybe it's not low enough to do a wholesale deal on, but it's low enough to where there's a spread between what they're like. Really, it's called their need price, not their want price. If there's a spread between their need price and what the as-is value of the property is, not the ARV, like the current condition. Usually these properties are dated, but they're not like total junkers. Yeah, like they could get a mortgage. Like you got to be able to get like an FHA mortgage basically. But anyway, so you agree to the seller that you're going to go in contract to buy their property for a specific price, their need price, and you're going to provide all the benefits of a cash offer, which is as is, they don't have to pay commissions, they don't have to make repairs, etc. But the only caveat is that they have to wait basically 60 to 90 days for you to ultimately resell that to a retail buyer. And then when it comes to that property selling to the new buyer, you as basically the middleman are going to get paid the difference between the price that they agreed to sell to you for, what it sold for on the MLS, but then as the middleman or the novator, you're going to pay the commissions, you're going to pay the closing costs. And if there's like, $3 or $4 grand worth of like FHA repairs, like punch list items that need to happen, you're going to pay that out of your pocket. And then the spread is, whatever that difference is after everything's netted out. So you can basically convert more deals without having to get more.
So it's kind of like wholesaling, but the owner keeps title of the property,
Yes.
but you have the ability
Yeah.
to sell it on the MLS and
Yes.
other places. And then the seller's the one that's closing on it
Correct.
with title. You're not.
So what ends up
assigning.
happening logistically is that you sign a contract with the seller that says I'm buying it for X and you're selling it for Y. And then in the contract, there's an addendum that says I can novate this contract, which means basically replace this contract with another contract if I find a buyer. So what ends up happening is that the new buyer signs a contract with the original seller. And then because your original contract says that it can be novated, you actually get like exterminated from the transaction, and then your fee is the difference between whatever you agree upon. So
in order to get your fee, you basically put a lien on the
yeah,
property.
you do
Called
a
notice of interest.
Yes, you lien out the property. You can do a construction lien or whatever. But anyway, got this property in Connecticut. We the guy was just dead set on $275, which is like a reasonable price, but not a wholesale deal price.
Right.
So me and Brett were like, all right, if you want $275, like, can we put it on the MLS and sell it? And basically you'll get $275 at the end of the day. And then if we sell it for more, we'll keep the difference. And, because you're stuck on your price and you don't want to pay a realtor commission. He's like, that's fine. So we put it on the market for $350 and it was priced too high. And then we dropped it to $330. And then we got a buyer. We signed a contract with it at $330, which was a pretty good rip on innovation.
Yeah.
But then it's like any retail buyer that they got an inspection, and then there's all this mold, and the house is in Connecticut, so it's, old, and there's, anyway. So now they canceled the contract, so now we dropped the price down to like $315 now, because like really the property's all sketchy, and there's all this mold.
Are you
that was discovered.
renegotiating with the seller to get a
Not
better
yet.
price?
Not yet. Like this morning, I just had the guy have to sign an addendum to our contract because he has there's all these documents with novations, like you really need to know what you're doing. So
There's a handful more.
anyway, it's starting to get a little squirrely. We'll see where this one pans out, but either way, I mean, it's an exit strategy, especially in this changing market that I'm paying a lot more attention to.
Yeah. We may have to. I'm flying out there next week to look at that property in Texas, so I might have to pull the novation card and see if he's willing to do it. Yeah. He's willing to sell at that discounted price to 1.1. Like literally, like I said, we could probably
That's
close
like 50 cents on the dollar.
We could probably
Yeah.
turn around and list it for 1.5, maybe even 1.7 without doing anything to it.
I would do that.
It's just probably.
I hate doing construction, dude.
Yeah, I think if we just did land,
It's terrible.
Maybe we just do landscaping and put it back on. I think that could be the solution.
But if you're going to do that, I would rather just maybe pay the seller more money and just be able to novate it. Because a novation, it's basically a wholesale deal that's wholesale style.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Without taking ownership.
Without taking risk.
It's all about the pitch.
Yes.
It's all pitch.
Yeah.
And so I've heard some good people pitch it where they'll basically say, here's the cash deal, right? And let's just assume, because the easiest way to pitch is if they just don't agree to it, right? Like the guy, I don't know what you were.
Eric Brewer's the guy I learned from.
Okay.
He's the king.
So there's a couple of different people I've heard pitch it now. But essentially it's like, hey man, this cash deal doesn't work. I wish it could, but if things change, just let me know. You're pretty much walking out the door. You're like, you know what? I just remembered, like there's another program I think you might qualify for. You might be interested in.
I know where you're going here.
And basically what it is we got our cash price here that you're not seemingly interested in. But if I was able to get you a little bit more closer to your price, I could open this up to kind of my third party list of buyers and list it to them. And we'll go through a little bit longer process, but you're still getting the same thing, right? Any other fees or anything, I'll go ahead and just take care of that, and all will be the same to you. So instead of the $250 price you might have offered them on that deal in Connecticut, it's now $275. Right here, I can make that work.
Net to him.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like you're just listing it on the MLS, and that's exposing it to infinitely more buyers than your couple hundred or 1,000 buyers you might have on your list, and you're not having to take the risk of buying it and seeing what the market says. You're testing out the market without any risk to you. So I think that's the biggest benefit.
It's amazing.
It all comes down to the pitch and setting the right expectations. If you don't do those both right, there's going to be confusion on the pitch. And if the expectations weren't set right, the seller's going to get pissed off when you're working through this and now you're making money, right? Because the the closing statement's going to show what you're getting, and in some cases you might need to justify that. So just to flash forward to that scenario, the way I've heard it pitched, because we got a couple Novation opportunities we're working through right now, but haven't inked the paper, is, you know, you basically put it on the closing statement as marketing, basically like marketing fees, right? And there's a couple other things you can put on there to call it out, but you're paying for the realtor commissions on the seller and buyer side. So that comes out of that in his line item. But your fee is basically like your marketing costs and stuff like that. Now, if the seller balks at it and has a problem, you could say, hey, man, we're not really making a lot of money on this. We're paying this, we're paying this, we're paying that, right? Because chances are you've done some marketing. You actually do have money into the deal beyond just
and repair
piecing it
costs
together.
and repairs. If it needs a punch list style kind of report, you know, that could be $3, $5, $6, $10,000 in California.
Yeah.
You know?
So at the end of the day, you might say, hey, at the end of the, you know, when the dust settles, we're really making around $10,000, $15,000, you know. So, you know, would you be comfortable if we split that with you, right? That might be a potential opportunity to kind of keep.
That's how we got the Connecticut guy to sign.
Okay.
We did that because he was counting our money, and I said, "Listen to me, go."
Yeah, this guy will be pissed if we make $300,000 on top of what.
You know what's
we're
funny
buying
about the
for.
Novations? I realized they're actually, if you pitch them the right way, and I haven't done a ton of them like this. We're just really getting into this now. If you pitch them the right way, it is actually more transparent than an assignment, a contract. Because if you say, "Hey, Mr. Seller, we're putting it on the open market. Mr. Seller, we're going to have buyers coming here. Mr. Seller, we're going to make the difference between what we agreed at the 400 and whatever we can sell it for on the open market." So when your neighbors see that it's on Zillow, I just want to set the right expectations with you because it will be on the open market advertised to the public. Sometimes with wholesales, I mean, I'm pretty upfront about them, but like, you know, new investors are, I got to take my partner through. And then the partner, you know, is the contractor, and then he's at the settlement thing writing the check. Well, your partner is a contractor. And then, wait a minute, he's a jack of all trades. So it's actually more transparent, you know, if you think about it, like my partner. Anyway, but I feel like a Novation, if you pitch it the right, a lot of partners.
A lot of partners.
And he's writing the
We got a
check,
big
and
team.
he's got the truck
He
out
can do a lot of
back.
stuff. That's why he's such a good
And
partner.
he's a hard money lender. Anyway.
Sorry to interrupt, guys. So listen, I have to change cards real quick because since we're recording on both, we're running out of space real fast. But I have another card ready to go.
Cool.
So
Doesn't sound like an issue at all.
So did you get it? Did you get everything up to now?
yes, I have.
Okay.
Except for all the good stuff.
Yeah.
We got to.
All right, big clap for me, Tony. Okay, good.
So big.
All right, and who was speaking? I think it was
Dean.
Okay.
I think he just wrapped up the final thought.
We
right?
just
Or last
wrapped up
segment.
Novations.
Me
Yeah.
and Greg were giggling with each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Okay. Yeah. So Novations,
Yeah.
pretty sweet deal, right? I mean, if you do it right, and I think the biggest thing with not only just Novations, but like negotiating anything is just kind of how you word it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure. Setting the right expectations. I have a deal right now.
Expectations.
Oh, especially on an assignment or like any sort of middleman deal, like when you're like someone else is ultimately buying it. I got a deal in Vegas right now, actually. We're doing PPC and we're like testing out kind of like this multiple market thing. Anyway, the lady in Vegas, and it was my fault because Brett and I were negotiating with her, and she was like, I want to close right away. And I said, we're going to close as soon as we possibly can. Like, we're going to try our best to close right away. In the contract that she signed, it says on or before August 18th. So she thought when she went to the title company that, and her mom like pre-signed the docs so we can expedite everything, she thought her mom was getting the money that day. And she's calling me, what's with the money? You guys are scamming me. And it's like,
That's tough.
It's like, I don't know what, it's like, listen, we're going to close when we can close, and it's going to probably be next week. And she had the wrong expectations, and now the deal's getting squirrely, right? So
Right.
Whenever I have a seller that's
gets
going down that rabbit hole,
yeah.
I try to. Sometimes you can't anticipate it.
Yeah.
It just unravels all on its own.
Yeah.
But anytime you get some sort of sense that they're that kind of person, you've got to squash all those expectations and
Yeah.
objections that you know are going to come.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, without the experience having gone through it, you might not know what those expectations are, or the objections you're going to get. But you got to get out ahead of that kind of stuff, because if not, they're going to be losing it.
They go
Losing it.
crazy,
Yeah.
dude. They go, and then it's like all over the phone. And it's like, now she's like, I won't get on the phone with you. I'm only texting. I said, okay,
Oh, boy.
we can text, but like, you're going to be sitting here for like a week. And by the way, the contract says on or before the 18th. You should have read that. Anyway, I digress.
Do you guys force contracts? So if she backed out of that, would you put a?
It's already recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
recorded.
wait, that's Vegas.
This is
or
in
New
Las
York?
Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
So
So do you,
Nevada.
do
Deal's
you
done?
No, we're in contract.
What do you mean recorded?
Like recorded, like we record the memorandum of contract.
Ah, okay.
you do
Yeah.
that on every contract?
New York, it's impossible. In New York, it's impossible to get screwed from a seller because once you're in contract with a lawyer, you can sue them for specific performance,
Oh, boy.
which is the purchase price.
Right.
So if a seller, I've had this happen actually. The seller said, "Greg, you're an idiot. I'm not selling you this house for 160. That's insane." And I said, "John, please talk to your attorney. Just talk to your attorney."
Because you already had it under
Yeah.
contract.
And his attorney was like, "If you don't sell to Greg, he's going to sue you for $160,000." And every attorney in New York knows that. So you can't get screwed in New York. That's the
Right.
one benefit to that state.
Right.
It's wild. You can't get screwed out of a contract, and you can't get snaked either because it's just
Yeah, we've gone back and forth on some of
Yeah.
those deals where we know that they lied to us and they went and sold it to somebody else. You know.
Yeah.
So we have two things. We have the memorandum.
because you
which
guys do a lot of stuff in Cali. How do you guys
do.
deal with that? Like,
So thankfully, it's not something we run up against too much.
yeah,
And I'd like to say it's because we do a good job of setting expectations and building
Yeah.
the trust and rapport.
Yeah.
But sellers get squirrely.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
you got to kind of like pick and choose which battle you want to go into. Because there's some deals where it's like, this deal is a juicy $30,000, $40,000 deal. It's like, there's no way I'm going to let them get out of it. So
100%.
I'm going to file a memorandum or do a list pendants. That's like the ultimate, like they've been served an actual notice, right? And
you can
there's
do a list
actually-
pendants in California.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, you're good. Then you can't. They're screwed.
There's more time and effort that goes into that.
Yeah.
But there's some deals that are hairy where it's like, well, technically we still need another signature from this other party, or
Yeah.
it's like a probate deal. The person signing is not really the seller yet. Like, so there's some deals where it gets squirrely, but we found the memorandums are kind of like a Band-Aid that help, right? But we found that in our area, there's a couple counties that are fine. Like we can fill out the paperwork, get it notarized, get it recorded. And then our biggest county actually requires the seller to sign it, which there's no way if the seller is going sideways going to sign it. So you'd have to preemptively
Sign it up
get
front.
it signed up front if you had any sort of inclination like this deal might go south. This person's squirrely, you know.
You have them sign the memorandum when they're in the good mood.
You're right.
Because in the bad mood, they're going to say no.
Not a chance.
Not a
Yeah.
chance. I'm
Well,
signing
you
this.
should be able to put in the paperwork. You know, you can
And it
explain.
says in our contract we have the right to file a memorandum, but we went to the courthouse in that larger county and they're like, yeah, no, we need a seller signature. And we're like, do you understand? Like our contract says this. They're like, yeah, we
Yeah.
don't care.
Have you thought about just putting a notarized place at the back of it with that memorandum?
Like an addendum.
Thought
Yeah.
about it. That's just, again, I would only reserve that for the ones that are really squirrely and really good deals. So
But you never know if they're
yeah.
squirrely until
I
they get
know,
squirrely.
I know. It can be tough.
The fangs come out after the fact, and then you're like,
But then
oh,
you're just
no.
thinking like, do I want to, assuming you have a notary on call, might cost you $40-$50, maybe even more each contract you sign.
It
Yeah.
adds up.
Try to
To
determine
do
if that
something
makes
that's really
sense.
preventative on 10% of the files. So it's
Exactly.
kind of like, I'd
Exactly,
rather
yeah.
just kind of go with it. Take it as you go versus like have it be a standard operating procedure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
to me, like 20 years, I've only had like 2 sellers, I think, back out. you
Wow.
know, for no reason, right? And
Had
even
more than that, but
yeah, I've had a lot more than that.
well,
Jeez.
maybe we're lucky, but yeah.
They're so friendly in the Midwest. I think on the coast, everyone's
Maybe.
just nasty.
Maybe.
It's so expensive.
Well, that's the thing. We're dealing with lower price houses, right? So
Yeah.
if they go and someone
Easily.
offers them $5,000 more, they may not care. But if someone offers them $50,000
Yeah.
more, then it's
Yeah.
a bigger deal.
San Diego gets. I actually have a deal right now in El Cajon, and it's a probate deal, and they were insistent that I put 25 G's down hard, and I was like, all right, I'll
you
do
get that a lot in the bigger cities.
Yeah,
like
20. I got
California.
25 grand on the street in a deposit, and then we just found out the freaking brother is trying to like object the sale, and he wants an appraisal done. And I'm like, I told the seller, I'm like, listen, Linda, if you're watching, Linda,
Listen,
hello.
Linda.
If your brother gets an appraisal, this appraisal is going to come back like 200 grand higher than we're in contract for. So, and this is where it got real sketchy because I was telling the escrow company, I'm like, listen, if this brother kills the deal for some reason, which I have no control over, because technically he's the half seller because it's in probate, and California's weird with the probate stuff.
but he's already signed though, right?
No.
Oh, he has.
Linda's the executor. This guy is has to sign off on the estate, but she's the executor. So it's all convoluted. But I said, Linda, if your brother kills this deal, I need my deposit back. Worst case scenario. I said, I really want to buy the house, but if your brother is gonna, make this a fuss over this, I need you to sign an escrow doc that says you're releasing my earnest money. Because if you don't sign the document for me to release my earnest money, I got to sue you for 25 grand. And I don't want to do that. You're a really nice lady. So she's like, if this thing goes south, I'll do that. So anyway, California's weird with the probate. New York.
You think it'll praise for 200,000 more? You said
easily. I mean,
So
this is
it's
a
probably gonna
freaking
kill the deal
4-bed
then,
house
right?
in El Cajon, man. It's a smoking.
so. It's probably going to kill the deal then, right?
Depends on if the brother wants to deal with if the brother wants to like try to max out the house, yes. But if he's like, you know what, this thing's like right at the finish line, probably not. They're still getting $515,000 for a house. I mean, that's a lot of money anywhere.
Yeah. What do you think? So we're recording this in July. What do you guys think is happening with the market right now? So you said California, which is interesting because we're looking at buying a house here pretty soon in California. You said you're seeing like pretty
San Diego.
drastic price
I had a
reductions?
house in Claremont 2 weeks ago with Justin Lee, my buddy. We had JV'd it, and if this was in January, February, we would have sold it in 3 minutes for like $30,000 assignment. Couldn't sell it.
Yeah.
And we told the seller we were assigning it. We said, we need a 2-day contingency to assign this because your price is too high. And she's like, that's fine.
Do you feel like your ARV was off, or do you feel like buyers were scared?
It was a combination of both. There was a comp down the street, another big flipping company, still hadn't sold it. They originally listed it like $900, like basically $1 million. They dropped it to $920, and now it's at $879.
Whoa.
And it's like catching a falling knife.
No way.
Claremont. I could take you by the house. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Do you think it's market or area specific?
Scary.
So Claremont's a little further inland. If it's on the coast, you know,
That's a fully
towards the
remodeled
water.
house, right? The comp?
It's a half remodel house. Like it was like a wholesale deal, but they did the outside really nice.
Okay.
And it's clean inside, but it's not like gutted with like quartz.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question, I think like the problem in San Diego, from what I saw, was that like actually my buddy bought another house in Claremont in the last winter. He was trying to sell the property for $1 million. He sold it for 1.3 in Claremont, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Right,
so he made out like a bandit on that. So I think a lot of these areas in San Diego, yeah, it's a regular neighborhood.
They just went to here. They need to come back.
Yeah, like they got to get normal again. But I've just seen the ARVs just drop a little bit. But a lot of buyers are just like, I don't know where the bottom's going to be at, so I don't want to buy houses. Like there's big flippers locally here that have either paused buying or they really got conservative with their numbers. Like people used to just like jump over
There's
properties.
still such low inventory though.
There is.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is it depends on what the rhetoric is and then what people believe from it. So if people are saying, and this is true, like in my market, inventory's doubled over the past month to 2 months.
Yeah, I keep hearing that.
But it was so low, like double-digit numbers. We're talking like, there were 60 properties listed or something like that in a certain county, like so low.
That's crazy.
So for it to go to 120 in that example, it's like, oh my God, it's doubled. So everybody's freaking out, but there's 120 properties for sale, right? So it's like
That are going to get snatched.
The bar
up
was
anyway,
still
right?
low to be like the bar was ultra low. Now it's just kind of low.
Yeah.
So it's still going to be good.
It's still below a normal market. Okay, but
Inventory below.
inventory is below a normal market. But what's causing the challenges with interest rates going up, obviously the spending power lowers. With that said, Derek Evans, who's a guy here local to San Diego who I watch a lot, he just posted for the second time in the past week, like the Fed rate went up, but actual mortgage interest rates went down.
I saw that.
You saw that too?
Yeah, I saw that news.
So the Fed rate and mortgage rates are two different things. They're somewhat related because they're important to one another, but at the same time, like if the Fed rate goes up, which is the major headliner, that doesn't mean mortgage rates are going up. It's definitely shifting to a buyer's market.
Yeah.
Compared to what it has been, it's been a hyper seller market, What I've seen is similar to you is our sweet spot in Central California where we do our investing is a house that's $300,000 like ARV retail price and less is really the sweet spot. And if you can get lower than that, it's even sweeter and even higher demand. Yeah. If you're getting above it, you can still sell a deal, but you can't be aggressive on your pricing.
Yeah, because what happens is the people that could afford this can only afford this.
Exactly.
And people can move down, but you can't move up. So the higher price
and the higher price
just
point's
like
also a second home too, right? Like their second home that they bought.
Possibly.
Usually.
And hopefully they would have enough money to still pay for some of those second homes, so that could still keep the demand up.
And not the second home that they own, like they own 2 homes, but I mean like they've
Vacation
already bought
home?
their starter home. Now they're upgrading
I see what you're saying.
to their second, I have more money home.
Right.
But if they have more money but can't necessarily afford to sell their house and move to that bigger house, they're going to wait.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing with interest rates going up. A lot of people are going to not sell their house and move, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to have to pay 6% to get a
Go
house.
from what 2.9% to 5.9%.
Exactly. And the big thing from guys like Derek Evan that I really appreciate that kind of like insight is the people who have that low interest rate now and won't dare to pay a higher one also probably have a lot of equity in their house if they bought it any time within the past couple of years. If they bought it in the past month, okay, maybe they bought it high compared to where the market is at and potentially going and cooling off. But if they bought it any time within the past couple of years, they have equity into it. They're probably not going to capture that equity and sell it and go for a higher interest rate and
a higher price.
And a higher price. So they're probably not going to sell it. Therefore, there's probably not going to be a flood of inventory. So our market should, even though it's in a weird spot, it should be stable in the sense that it's not like the sky's going to fall, the market's going to dump.
No, it wouldn't be a 2008 again.
No.
That would be almost impossible because that was like caused by shitty real estate loans.
And I've actually heard
Yeah.
that sellers that would have sold 3 to 6 months down the road are now putting their houses on the market because they're getting scared.
Yep.
And
They
so,
don't wanna
and so
be
there's
late.
a flood maybe a little bit right now, but then it's going to dissipate.
But then if they don't
right?
get the price, they don't need to sell it, so they'll pull it off
Maybe.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I think too, though, like the nature of the business that we have, like our industry, is like you buy the house at a discount from day one. So if the market drops 10%, in theory, if you're still buying houses at 30% of market value, like you still have a 20% spread there. Like, so it's just, we're always like the whole business is getting a good deal, right? So if you just got to adjust your numbers.
If you're buying it right and you have the ability to keep it if you can't sell it.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
What we're doing right now, though, is we're looking, we're taking our comps and we're adjusting it down. We're being conservative.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So we're being conservative on our comps, and then we're obviously negotiating for bigger spreads to account for that, and just be more conservative on all our numbers across the board. So I think that's been helping us.
Are you putting comps in your wholesale deal emails, or do you not do that?
Never ever have I.
Yeah.
But the past couple
I
deals
might start
I
doing that now.
sold-
Yeah.
Past couple deals I sold, I have.
I think I might start doing that because we're seeing our buyers list, like just activity rate has gone down a little bit. So, because I used to be like, here's the address, here are all the facts.
Yeah.
And then if you want to do the deal, let's do the deal. And but because they used to like, well, no, that they would argue with me, and I'm like, I don't want to argue with you. Like, let's just like decide if you want to buy it or not. But I think now with the fact that it's a little harder to sell a wholesale deal. If you kind of package the deal together now and show some comps, it'll be easier to sell the products versus having to argue with people.
Last couple we did that. But to your point, like a couple months ago and before, I pressed send and it's sold
gone.
in 2 minutes.
Where do I need to be at? Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sight unseen.
Sight unseen, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, legit. And we'll still sell them quickly, but I feel like we're giving a little bit more information. We're providing them a little bit better of a deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's what's worked for us lately.
That's awesome. $300,000 in California, that blows my mind.
I know. It's the hidden gem of California, Central California. Now, when you get there,
when it's 110 degrees there.
The almond farms are? Is that where you guys?
Almonds, pistachios, walnuts. They got cotton and corn there too a lot. A lot of citrus, lots of oranges, lots of lemons. You also get table fruit too. So, you get your apples and peaches. Like, people don't realize that Central California feeds a lot of the nation.
Really?
Wow.
Feeds a lot of the nation food. And then it also, like, milk, all your milk and cheese, like a lot of it comes from Central California.
And you're talking about Fresno, Visalia, Bakersfield.
Yeah.
And then are you talking about, does that conclude up to Sacramento? Or is that too far north?
People would call the Central Valley as far up to Sacramento. Most people more intimately kind of consider it just a little bit north of Fresno and then down to Bakersfield. Because that's kind of where like the true kind of Central Valley is. Once you get a little bit higher into like Merced and Modesto, which then leads to Sacramento, it's, a lot more Bay Area. People are kind of living there and commuting, and it's not quite the same Central Valley,
Do you know Chico, Redding, California at all?
Yeah, I know those areas.
We're
Those
running-
are way north.
Yeah, we're running TV commercials there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're doing some pretty decent deals there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that where that college is? Chico State?
Yeah.
Yeah, right up there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got a JV partner up there. We're
That's
running.
why
We're
Tony started
running.
there. He's trying to go to some parties.
We're running commercials, and
kinda-
he's running the deals.
Run the
so
keg stands at Chico State. Blackout.
May have to go up there.
Hey.
Now that you say that.
Put that on his TV commercial.
Yeah. Do you want a blackout after you buy a house?
Keg stands.
No, that's awesome. I mean, I just think
cool.
San Diego. I think a lot of flippers now are just a little like, they're just waiting for things to settle and then they'll jump back in. Because I mean, some of these prices, like, properties selling 100, 200 grand over ask. That's not a normal thing. Like
Yeah.
that's not normal. And if that kept going on, that wouldn't be healthy for the overall market. Because eventually, when
It just gets to a point where it's not affordable.
yeah, like buying a house
and
for
it just
$3
won't
$3 million bucks. Like
Yeah,
that's never,
It doesn't.
it's monopoly money.
Yeah, when we moved here in 2015, 7 years ago, I mean, you could find a really nice house for $1 million. That same house is like 2.25.
Dog
now.
shed out here.
It's crazy.
You couldn't find anything in PB, like even Pacific Beach, which is a good area, but like a dog box is $1 million. like you can't find anything, and it's like
That's true.
it's crazy. Like I was at a house in La Jolla. There was a real estate. It's called like a real estate networking meetup in La Jolla. This was a $15 million property, literally right by Wind and Sea on the water. And it was like the house needed a full rehab. Like there were plans inside to knock it down and build a $9,000 square foot property. And this thing is on the market for $15 million and it's a fixer.
Right.
And it's like, you could tell it's got peeling paint chips everywhere, but it's just like the coast. It's just
Location.
impossible.
Man.
Yeah, it's looking. You can't change the fact that it's on the beach is literally like you walk out of the gate on the beach. So, you just can't change that. But I don't think the luxury market is as like people buying a $15 million property.
They still have the money.
They
right?
got the money. They're not going to really be affected.
And there's not that many of those houses right on the water.
Yeah, exactly. Like on the coast in La Jolla. Like you live in Bird Rock. I mean, it's just insane there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. So what are things that you guys are doing right now that are pretty big things you guys are planning for the near future? Anything you guys have in the works?
For me, it's all about optimization, like we talked about. So I've been excited about bringing more people onto the team and really creating even better systems than we have now. So that's why I've been going to different trainings and connecting with other investors to kind of like pick out some other little nuggets on stuff that they're doing and kind of stand back and look at our business and what we can improve. So I couldn't be more excited about some of the things that we're doing there, just to create a better process and better accountability and all that kind of stuff. So I think those are some of the things that are going to make the biggest difference. We're going to keep switching up marketing and making changes there and continue to dial that in. So I think there's going to be some really good stuff coming together.
Optimization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool, man. What
I
about you
would say
guys?
similar to him. It's just getting our system. Like we're kind of looking at every bottleneck we have and finding a strategic way to solve it. So for example, I think, 11? So at like 1:30, I got a call with a answering service. So we're going to start having all of our, at least internet leads, go into the answering service system where they actually call the web leads back or they'll answer the Google calls live, because we're running into like we're getting a lot of leads and like the team's busy, or if I can't even help them if I'm busy, it's like if we have those Google leads sitting there for more than 2 minutes, someone else is going to be calling them.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of looking at all the bottlenecks we have and trying to develop systems to, fix them and then make it to where as we pour more gas on the fire, we can actually like implement and we don't run into like a problem like with the leads. So just finding those little systems and then honestly shifting with the market and working, getting better at dispositions, getting better at, I'm still closing on properties too. So like a lot of people are like scared to close. It's like, I'm still buying deals to flip. Like it's not, I'm just looking at the ARV as lower than it's probably going to be and buying it cheaper. So doing that and then just making sure that another thing too we're working on is I'm going to get Brett his real estate license, and we're doing some business in Delaware now because he moved there. So like a lot of our leads we're getting, like they're going to be retail leads. So I'm like, listen, dude, if you get your license and you can take on, 2 or 3 listings a month that came from
How much
our
do those
marketing.
actually pan out though? Because I feel like we get a lot of listing leads. They want retail. Hey, let me refer you to one of the top agents in the area, which happens to be my partner.
They end up.
But then you get on the phone with them. Oh yeah, I got a friend who's a realtor. I'll probably just go with him. You're like, well, you just told us.
It's all about how you pitch it. I know what you're saying. So what we do is this, like with the realtor referral. So listen, Mr. Seller, I know this now with novations, it's changed a little bit, but before the novations, it was like, listen, you want this price for the house. We just can't do that. I know you want to do business with us, but we just can't. That pesky price keeps getting in the way. And there's no way that you're going to sell for, $250. So here's what I think the best option is for you, Mr. Seller. Usually if they tell us that they have a friend who's a real estate agent, forget about it. Yeah. But if they don't say that and they're like, I would want to kind of figure out what my house is worth, I say, listen, if you want, and if you think it's a terrible idea, you could tell us no. We can set you up with one of our property valuation experts. And what they'll do is they'll simply come to the house, they'll take a look at the property, and they'll tell you exactly what you will get for this property. And by the end of that meeting, you will know exactly what your home is worth. You think it's worth setting up a time to meet with them? So we don't say the R word, realtor. We say property valuation experts. And then we make sure that realtor knows what they're doing and they know how to convert people. So then when they go to the house, it's a straight appointment, and it's up to them to convert that. So
I like that. Interesting how
that's
the
how
word realtor will just turn them off.
Oh yeah, they hear the word realtor, they're like, ah, la, 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 la.
Well, that's why they're calling that's why they're calling us, right?
Yeah.
They don't want a realtor.
They hear the R word and they're like, no way. But property valuation expert. And the way that we frame it is like, by the time you're done with that meeting with them, you are going to know exactly what your property's worth. So it's an incentive for them to get someone in the door.
I like that a lot.
Because I'll refer you to my realtor. Like, no, you're good. You can just,
all right.
I'm just going to let it burn down, But that's how we've been pitching that. So anyway, I want Brett to get his license so he can turn some of our leads into listings, as well as with these novation deals. He can get the listing on.
I'd be careful with that.
Oh.
I'd be careful with that.
You want to bail me out of jail?
I have been hearing that if you're going to do novations,
Don't be a realtor.
not use your license or anyone on the team.
Okay, so get a third party.
Third party completely unrelated to the team because there's just too much liability.
A lot of gray there.
Yeah. Just don't do it.
Okay.
So
we'll have Brett take listings, and then we'll find someone else for novations.
There you go.
That might have saved me a bunch of money.
Yeah, I could have.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys know what I'm excited about. Freaking TV, man.
Flying in your plane?
Blowing up. Yeah, actually picking up my plane next week.
Dude, that is amazing, bro.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
It's a bucket list.
You got to get a picture
Next
of the plane.
podcast, we're going to be flying in the plane, right?
We can.
And just be flying
Actually, I
around.
thought about that idea. I don't think anybody's ever done an airplane podcast.
Never seen it.
No.
Dude. Money.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Absolutely.
Dude,
Are you going to fly with me? I only have like 55 hours.
Ooh.
It'll be on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Tony, so...
you'll zoom in the right seat.
Yeah.
No, seriously though, like TV. So for us, obviously we get real estate investors on TV throughout the country. Like Dean's been our client for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to get you
I know.
on in
I'm
the
a tough
market.
sell.
Let's pick a market. I
know.
guarantee I'll crush
I
it
know.
for you.
We got to talk.
But we're getting clients on TV, managing their TV commercials. We're now JVing with other operators. We're splitting the ad spend and sharing the profits. We're funding the deals for them and stuff like that. And I just got off a call with someone where we're setting up a profit share deal with them and other people that they know. So it'll be kind of a JV kind of thing, but a little bit different where we're more hands off. But I tell you, man, our clients are crushing it, and us being able to plug TV into other markets very quickly and easily is pretty sweet.
That's an intelligent way to scale versus
plug and
having...
play.
100%.
Yeah, it's really
100%.
smart.
Yeah.
So are you reshooting for each market, or are you doing like a dubbed over? Hey, this is Tony from blah blah blah, Chattanooga.
I'm buying houses in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
So I reshoot. I reshoot for every one of them, so it doesn't sound funny.
Okay.
And we have a different phone number and all that kind of stuff.
I think at this rate, it's going to be TonyBuysAmerica.com.
I like it.
Literally,
That's
like
good.
you're in like every damn market in
I like
America.
it. I like it. I need to trademark that.
TonyBuysAmerica.com, because there's a lot of guys doing nationwide PPC. That's like the sexy kid on the block now is the nationwide, which like I think that can work. I think there's a lot of complexity to that you really need to have good
parts.
Yeah, like moving a deal and
the algorithms can change pretty quick,
yeah.
right?
And I think if your whole business is dependent upon Google, you're ultimately at risk because if you have one marketing channel that's crushing, if that goes down, like
It's just like Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah,
man. They
man.
change stuff all the time.
YouTube. That's why you gotta have multiple lines in the water with marketing.
Yeah, you have to.
Even though it's a side note, but I mean, like that's the thing. It's like what people ask me, like, what channel works the best? I mean, it depends. They all work
at this point, because there's some people that are all in on driving for dollars.
Yeah, that can work.
All in on cold
Yeah.
callers, and they got 10 cold callers or more, or something like
Yeah.
that, and they've just worked it to where it's working for them. For me, I can't say that I'm so smart in one particular area and have the perfect recipe, which I don't know if anyone is saying that they can necessarily say it truthfully, but like I gotta be in all these different areas because one area will be hitting off, you know, like one of our TV deals that literally just closed last week, $81,000 profit deal. Man,
that's
heck
spicy.
yeah.
Flip or wholesale?
It was a flip.
Ooh.
Turned into a flip. And it's like, okay, that was awesome. You know? But every marketing channel doesn't just necessarily hit every day, all week, getting a deal under contract every day. So you got to be in all these different areas. And then a lot of them will start to complement each other as well.
Exactly.
You know?
That's so true. Like I actually watched your YouTube video last week, and you did the TV commercial, and then they tried to snake you, the seller, and then they had someone else go to the house, and then your TV commercial was running while the other guy was at the house.
That's right.
Like just like and you're omnipresent, you're everywhere. You know.
That was too good.
That's a crazy dude. Your YouTube, I gotta say, man, your YouTube stuff is real good. I watch your videos.
Appreciate
They're well done.
Glad to know I have one fan.
Yeah, I think I usually like the video, and then
you're the one subscriber.
I give him a thumbs up. I'm like, hey, dude, I like the video. You know.
Which, if you're watching this, go to Dean Rogers.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/.
What is it?
Dean
Deals
Rogers.
with Dean.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Deals with Dean. Actually, you do have some good stuff out there.
Yeah, it's great, man.
Yeah.
And I don't watch a lot of YouTube. I just you and a couple others. So
Appreciate that.
I'm a fanboy.
I didn't hear my name in there, but I'll let it go. Anywho, all right, let's wrap up with. Let's talk about one thing you would recommend or one thing you're doing right now that you guys want to share with the listeners for what they can do to scale their business quickly and easily right now.
I'll just come out and say, which we talked about it already, but you got to get out and meet more people in your market. If you're newer, go to the experienced people, add value. The quickest way to add value is to present an opportunity.
Present them a deal. Yeah.
Not, hey, can I take you to coffee? Hey, can I come intern for you? Go put in the legwork and the effort. Go on YouTube University, figure out whatever you need to, join a coaching program, get the information, bring a deal to the people who are the experts that you can trust. That's the quickest way to accelerate your growth and get into the club. Because there's people that have done that with me, and now like I'm pouring information and knowledge and resources to them because I'm like, I see it. I see the effort. There's been a reciprocation of value on both sides. Like, let's do this. I'm excited about that. The people who are just like kind of leeching or, oh, I need some information. Or
Assholes, I call them.
What's that?
Assholes.
Assholes.
Assholes. People are just looking for information, but which is okay. It's okay to ask. That's a good thing to want to learn and seek information. But if it's just an open-ended, hey, I won't name a name, but someone just texted me yesterday. Hey, do you have some time to jump on a call? No, I don't have time to jump on a call. What's this about? Oh, they had a generic question. Here's the answer. And that was it.
Here's the link. Pay $500 for 10 minutes of my time.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like,
that's cheap. That's generous. I'm
if
charge
the
1,000.
quickest way is to get an opportunity or a deal, present that. And if you are someone who's experienced already, get out of your shell, right? Don't just stay in your lane and focus with your blinders on. Go start networking with more people and interact with as many wholesalers and investors as possible. It's going to open up more deals, more opportunities, and find the right people. Because there's a lot of people that are gray area kind of people. Listen to your gut and run away from those people. Only work with people that are like top tier quality people that are doing things the right way. And I promise you, there's going to be so many more opportunities.
Isn't it interesting? Can you guys tell the difference pretty quickly between the people you want to do business with and you
can just
don't?
get a vibe. You can literally get a vibe.
Well, there's a vibe, but there's also just the little things that you do. Like, for instance, we're hiring for another person right now. So I test them. I say, hey, send me a Zoom link or send me a calendar invite for this time. Here's the Zoom link we're going to use. And that's all that I do. And first of all, I see how long it takes them to do it. Do they do it right? And how do they do it? So like this last gal, we're having a Zoom meeting at 1:00 today. She did exactly the way that I wanted it. It says, Tony and Jill interview. She put the Zoom link in there and it's like, okay, that's the way that I want things done, right? I mean, that's an employee standpoint, but even like businesses, when you send a contract, it's like pretty quickly you understand how people are doing business. Do they sign it and send it when they're going to?
Yeah.
Do they set it the inspections like they're going to? And it's like pretty quickly you can see whether
it's so powerful.
it's going to be
man.
easy,
especially
or
with
not to do business with
contractors,
them.
man. I had this one knucklehead in Delaware because I had to find a contractor because we started buying properties there, and I'm like, I interviewed a few people, and this guy gave me bad vibes because he was FaceTiming me at the house because I'm not there, so I'm like, we got to FaceTime, and he's just like kind of saying like, just not answering me directly. And I think I'm a little tough because I'm from New York, so I'm a little more straightforward. But anyway, he's like giving me the runaround, and he's like telling me a bunch of stupid crap. And then I'm like, okay, give me a bid, and I need the bid by tomorrow at lunchtime, which is very reasonable. And if you send me an email by tomorrow at lunchtime, I'll review the bid and give you a decision. The guy fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Then the next one, same thing. And then the third guy gave me a bid. It was reasonable. It was professional.
And gave it to you the way you probably wanted it.
The way I wanted
right?
it. We went on a DocuSign, and then he's doing the job. It's just like most people can't do the basics.
And that's the thing, running a business, like there's so many businesses like contracting. If you just do it right,
Dude,
you
you'll
can
be
charge a bunch of money.
You'll do great.
You show up,
Yeah,
you do your
that's
work. But I think that's the problem with contractors. They overpromise and underdeliver, right? They're like, yeah, I can do this for 80 grand.
They're not good businessmen. They're good tradesmen usually, but they're not good businessmen. So that's
Yeah.
why there's all this, animosity between investors and contractors usually, because they're great at doing the thing, but running the business, it's like another language to them. And that's why it's like, oh, I'll get back to you next week. And then like everything's all screwed up. And yeah, but to give you a thing that we're like a piece of advice that will help someone whether new or experienced is like just track the basics daily. Like I was on the phone with someone, a newer investor coming up here because he wanted some help and he was cool about how he reached out. I'm like, bro, you got to track how many new leads came in every day, how many offers did you make, how many contracts did you sign, how many deals closed, and what was the revenue you put in your bank account. I said, if you just optimize and track those numbers every day, I said, dude, if you're making 3 to 4 new offers a day, you're going to do deals every month.
Yes.
It would be impossible.
Yes.
Like, it's like just track the damn basics and get amazing at the basics and grow the basics, and you'll grow your business.
When you pay attention to it, you realize I don't have any leads to make offers, so I need to go get leads.
Exactly. Then how do I get leads? It's like just use those numbers as a baseline, and like you can fix the problems by just looking at a simple spreadsheet.
Yeah, for sure.
Track your numbers. That's the key.
Yeah. So I've got 2 things. Obviously, TV. REMTV.com if you want to run TV commercials.
/ affiliate. No.
/ Greg and Dean. So they get a cut.
Double affiliate. Double dipping, bro.
But no, I think the biggest thing for me is just like we kind of talked about with people, like just doing business with like really good people.
Yeah.
So getting people on your staff that are really good people that can do stuff for you, because they can either make your business or make your life a lot easier, or they can make it really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And then good contractors, mentors, coaches, people you can do business with. I mean, even just 10 years ago, if I look at the people that I was surrounded with at that time and compare that to now, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Between employees and people like you that I hang out with, like the quality of people is just unbelievably different.
Yeah.
You're the average of the people, the 5 people you hang out with the most, right?
Yeah, well, I'm a testimony to that, because like just in the past couple of years that we've been spending time together, just some of the advice that you've given me has helped me in my business scale it, grow it, hire the right people, put the right people in the right seats at the right time. Like just some of those things. It goes back to what I was saying, like surround yourself with people that are doing things at a high level, and those things are going to rub off.
Yeah.
And most of that was just casual conversation.
Casual.
It's
right?
little
Super
nuggets
casual.
here and there. They just kind of like stick, and then you implement it, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm responsible for Dean's success over the last 2
You
years.
can get a royalty on every single wholesale rip.
I should. I should.
Yeah.
I need to do profit sharing for TV with this guy, man. He got a heck of
he already
a
bought up all
he got
the
a heck of a
media.
deal getting into TV.
Yeah.
Hey, early adopters.
Dude, that's a smart way to do it.
You took the risk, man.
I did.
You get the reward.
That's amazing.
Good stuff, man. We need to do this again.
Yeah, I like the
Absolutely.
in-person podcast. This is a good time.
Sweet, man.
Just bigger memory cards.
Bigger memory
Yes.
cards. We had to split the podcast
By the way,
up
sick
into 3
office.
segments.
Like this is
This is
incredible.
Yeah, I like it, man. We just need to get something on the screen next time.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, is this still like I'm a little like are we? I'm gonna put the microphone.
We're still
away.
recording.
Oh, we are.
We are still recording.
Oh, thank you.
So for that, good night. We'll see you guys next time.
All right,
See you
thanks.
later. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys.